Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wiggin' Out with Bobby Z here on a Wiggy Weevy Wednesday. Except, I'm recording this at night, not during the day, so instead of coffee and a Kiki, today it's hot tea and a Kiki, which kind of rhymes a little better. And apparently the world is exploding outside because the ambulances and the police cars are going nuts. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I should, make sure that we're not all dying or something. Anyway, I have my big mug today. Also going to do another Sally Beauty haul for you guys today. I went and bought a whole bunch of new stuff, and I didn't really have anything else to talk about. So this week they did the musical challenge, and this is the one thing that I don't understand about the queens that are on RuPaul's Drag Race and the fans out there that watch and all of that. They're all like, how can you go on Drag Race without knowing how to sew? How can you go on Drag Race without knowing that there's going to be a snatch game? And I'm over here like, how can you go on RuPaul's Drag Race and not know there's going to be a singing challenge? Like, there's been a singing challenge pretty much every season. I think maybe seasons 1 and 2 didn't have them. I don't really remember back that far. I can't even remember who's on what season anymore. It's also the same thing with the choreography. There's always going to be a choreography and dance challenge. It's going to be on RuPaul's Drag Race. Make sure you can sew and make sure you can do your makeup. And I'm over here like, well, make sure you can at least somewhat kind of try to sing and kind of try to dance. Like, if you want to take drag seriously and you want to be considered for RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm not saying go out there and try to become the next Balanchine or something, but take some classes, dance classes for adults, for beginners, all of that stuff. Get used to having someone teach you how to move and how to do things, because it's going to come in handy not only if you plan on being on Drag Race, but it's also going to come in handy down the line. Same thing with singing. Go to colleges, go to schools with music programs, with master's programs in music. A lot of times those students teach. Sitting down and having somebody explain to you how to use your voice better, I'm not saying they're going to make you into the next Pavarotti or anything, but they're going to help you get it together, and they're going to help you learn what you can and cannot do with your voice and with your range. And they're also going to teach you how to count and how to listen and how to listen to other people and try to blend and everything. You know, I have a degree in musical theater, so I learned all these things. So for me, it's like second nature. But I also don't really sew that well, and I also don't really do my makeup that well. That's what I do, so if I were to try out for Drag Race, I'm not, please don't ask me. I would practice my sewing, I would practice my makeup, I would practice impressions for Snatch Game. You know, you have to think of all these things when you try out. Like, well, I'm not an actor, I'm not a singer, I've never had experience with this before. You know it's coming, bitch. Try harder. I thought as a whole the musical was kind of stupid. The lyrics were terrible. And I mean, they were trying to make fun of musicals, and they were trying to put all these different elements of different kinds of shows together. I think it, showcased everybody pretty well. I think Ben De La Creme did do very well. She didn't have the best voice, but she really sold it, and she stuck to her gun and did it. I actually really didn't hate Gia Gunn in this week's actual episode. Untucked is a whole other story, but this week's episode, I didn't really hate her. I thought she did a decent enough job in the challenge, and bitch knows she can't sing, so she was selling it. You know, if you don't know the steps, sell it up here. If you can't sell it up here, know the steps. So she knew her steps, and she was selling it, so it didn't really matter that she couldn't sing. Again, like they said, Darian Lake kind of blended into the background. I didn't really watch her at all. I actually watched this week's episode twice. Last night after it aired, and then I also watched it again today as a refresher to make this video. Milk, I think Milk did a good job in the challenge. Oh, she can't sing at all, but she tried so hard, and she was really giving it. Her outfit was a little odd, but that's Milk. So I love that she's still staying true to herself, and she's still going out there and being a wackadoo and not caring, and I love that about her. I think Laganja did okay. She was kind of selling it. My one thing with Laganja is girl, we get it, you're a drag queen and you're gay. So literally everything has to end with gag, mama, honey, love, and I'm ugh. I mean, granted, I say that shit a lot too, and that's probably why I'm calling her out on it, because I know in my heart of hearts that I say that shit way too much, and seeing her do it reminds me of myself, and it annoys me, so, girl. I thought Courtney did amazing. I loved her blonde, finger wave wig, and I loved her, Veronica Lake pink wig. That thing was gorgeous. Those waves were solid all the way across. It was beautiful. My only thing about that wig was that in certain light, when she put her head up, I could see, I'm not sure how that wig's constructed, so I'm not sure if it's a full lace on the top, if the whole top is lace and it's wefted, or if it's whatever, but I could see a line about right here on her head. And usually that is where the wefting meets the lace front. Who haven't I talked about yet? Oh my god, Adore. Okay, here's my beef with Adore. Are they allowed to, like, do drugs on set or in the housing that they're in? Because I swear that that girl is baked out of her mind all the time. Because anytime they interview her, she has, like, a vacant look on her face. Her eyes are open and, like, slightly crossed. And her mouth's kind of, like that. I don't really understand, like, what her deal is. I'm still not a big fan of hers. And I think part of it is because she has Taylor Swift dead eyes. If you're not really sure what Taylor Swift dead eyes are, it just means even when you're up there and you're giving it your all and you're, you know, connecting to something, your eyes don't change. Your eyes still look dead. Like, your eyes have no emotion, your eyes have no connection. And I think she knows that, and she tries to compensate for it by opening her eyes really wide to make it look like she's actually caring. But, like, that clip that they show her in the commercial where she has, like, that ugly, like, oh, shake and go wig. Like, shake and go wig parted on the side with a dress that was, like, way too small and way too short. And still not with a waist cincher. Well, I don't have a waist cincher. And Michelle put her in her place and said, I told you to do it. Borrow one of the other girls. My thing is, like, bitch, do you not know about duct tape and a t-shirt? Like, please. And then she's like, I swear I'm not as bad of a drag queen as I come across to be. Yes, you are, bitch. Like, if you really were a better drag queen, you wouldn't have to have excuses. You wouldn't have to say, this is not what I do. This is not who I am. Because it is what you do and it is who you are. That's what you're putting forward. We're on episode 4 now. And honestly, like, I've heard some spoilers, and I've heard that Adore is in the top 4 this year, and my only beef with that is I think it's kind of going to be like a Tyra Sanchez thing, where all the weeks that she should have gone home, she was either safe from the mini challenge, or somehow somebody screwed up just enough, a little bit more than she did, and they were the one that was in the bottom 2. And I can already see that happening with Adore, especially if she is in the top 4, like the rumors are saying. I think that, you know, and I'm not a big fan of her. I don't really like her attitude. I don't like her drag. I mean, her face is, I love the way she does her face, but, like, her outfits, her hair is sloppy and it's not polished. And, you know, she's like, this is the most expensive gown I have. No, that is the most expensive gown your drag sister has that you borrowed it from, because otherwise it would have fit you and it wouldn't have been 6 inches off the floor. Also, if you weren't wearing, like, a 7-inch platform stripper boot underneath them, maybe the hemline would have looked a little better. Trinity again this week. Again, it's like this attitude with her and I don't get it. And, you know, like Bianca, they said it best, is that she says she wants to try, and she says she wants to learn, and she says she wants to get better at this stuff, but she's not putting in the effort. And the second that anyone gives her a critique or tries to tell her otherwise, she either jumps down their throat or her stank face comes on and she shuts off. And it's not to say she's not pretty, it's not to say she's not talented. Like, her lip sync was everything. Like, she was beautiful, and I loved the wig she had. I would have liked it better if it was a lace front, not a rooted front. But her performance in the number, again, she was slurring because of her flipper, hesitant in the production numbers, and with the singing. And that's what, you know, that's why she was in the bottom 2, because she was hesitant and she wasn't quite on the other bar as the other girls. Those things where April tried her best, but again, like, Michelle was right. It's like, when you're the big girl, you need to have that big personality, and you need to, like, have it be something more than just an outfit or just a costume. And I agree. And honestly, I think Laganja should have been the fat bitch. I mean, seriously, because number one, she is like the size of my pinky. So seeing her in a fat suit would have been hilarious. Like, emergency 4th cover Tracy understudy in Hairspray. Like, it would have been hilarious. And she has that personality and that oomph about her that I think it would have sold better. And then she could have been the featured one, and you could have had April as, you know, the other pretty one that wasn't the butch one, because her face. Jocelyn, oh my god, that wig she wore for Runway, oh my god. Seriously, like, what was that? I don't even know what it was. Like, it looked like a Gibson girl with, like, a curly Mandy Patinkin wig put on top of it and, like, a bow. On to Untucked. I loved what they did with Laganja's parents. I loved all of that. Especially just to show, especially because he was saying something, he said something very early on in the season about his mother and him becoming estranged since, Laganja estranger, since he started doing drag. And I thought that was really sweet of them to, like, get the parents involved and for them to video message in, and that's to have your parents message in and say how much they love you and support you and everything. I just think that that was really great of them to do. However, Gia Gunn in this episode, she is so ignorant, and I totally understand where she's coming from with the whole, like, that's worse than calling me a stupid bitch or a dumb bitch or whatever she said. Like, I grew up, like, I went to school with, like, some hood bitches in Pittsburgh public schools. Like, know what being called ignorant is all about. I know. I got the background. I have the story. You know, totally think she was being ignorant. And I think that is the most offensive thing to say to somebody. It's like, I don't get your drag, so let me get in your head so I can better understand it, because I don't understand what you do, because you're not a carbon cookie cutter of what I like to do with drag. And I think Bianca said it best. She's like, fish is not going to get her far, and she's going to be, you know, a dead fish floating at the top of the tank. And I think that's true, because she, like, for the most part, she has no personality. She's vapid. She's probably one of the stupidest people I've ever seen on television. And like I have said before, I understand that this is all cut and pasted and edited together to make you think that way, but she came into the city this week and performed, and some shit went down. And it's not my business to talk about it, because I really don't even know what all happened exactly. I've heard a couple different tales, but let's just say it's not an act, and that's really how she is. I've heard it from multiple friends of mine that have met her, I think, at the premiere party or out and about in the city at performances and everything. And that whole elitist attitude is how she is. And I just, you know, honestly, I think it's from an insecurity. And I think that she just can't face her insecurities and her flaws, you know, and she can't admit to them. So I think that she has to close herself into a box. And that's how she deals with it, just by being mean and nasty to other people. So the reason why men get into doing drag is because they have self-esteem issues, and because they feel like they don't fit in, and because they feel like they're unattractive. That's the reason why so many men start doing drag and get lost in drag and live too much in drag, because of the insecurity of themselves as a human, as a boy. Transgender is a completely different thing. That's completely different. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, that's not at all what this is about. I just think that she, and I'm not saying that, you know, I don't think she's transgender. I don't know. She could be. I mean, there's been, like, a girl every season that ends up becoming transgender. God, they all look amazing. But I think she really needs to figure out what her beef is with herself. Now that the show's out, and now that she's out and performing and promoting herself, and apparently she's still acting the same, I just don't understand. I mean, I don't understand why. I don't understand drag queens being negative and mean to people in person anyway. Yeah, like, yeah, people coming up to you can be annoying. Yeah, people coming up and talking to you that you don't know, that you kind of want to push away, you have other things to do. Yeah, that's annoying, but it only takes one person's bad opinion of you to change everyone else's. And that's what I always say. So that's kind of like, you know, I think these girls need to watch themselves with the egos and everything. And I need to hydrate. I made it really nice and sweet today. It's my really, really long explanation of this week's, I almost said So You Think You Can Drag, this week's RuPaul's Drag Race and Untucked. So now we're going to get on to my Sally Beauty haul. I went to Jersey. There was a Sally Beauty, and I had to go stock up on some stuff, and so I was able to kind of get what I needed and kind of get some new things. Bag O stuff from Sally Beauty Supply. I bought these crocodile clips. They're leopard and zebra print. I thought they were really cute, and I'm kind of running out of these clips because eventually they break, so I needed a couple more, so I picked up 4 more. I also got my Sally Pro Flyer. All my other capes either fell apart, or I lost them, or they got damaged when I tried to clean them or something. So I bought another one just so I can have more than one at home. I also bought 2 bottles of neutral protein filler. I was looking for this everywhere in the city, and everyone was looking at me like I was crazy when I was asking about it. They were like, what are you talking about? What's going on? I went to Ricky's, I went to Wigs and Plus, I went to Beauty 35, and I tried to find the protein filler, and nobody had it, and nobody knew what the hell it was going on about. Protein filler is really great when you're dealing with really, really damaged and or super pale blonde uneven color, because it fills in the protein and it fills in the gaps and the holes in the hair and helps you get a more even result. If you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you saw that crazy long mermaidy blonde wig with the roots that I then dyed like that really pretty chocolate medium brown color. I really needed protein filler for that. I dyed it twice, and it turned out beautiful and everything, and the client's very happy. But had I had protein filler, I think the color would have turned out just that much better. So now I have 2 bottles for me to use later next time I have to dye some hair. If you watched my last Sally Beauty haul video, I talked about the knockoff Japanese pins, the Meta Grip Premium Hair Pins. They're the Sally Beauty brand, and they come in a large on one side and a short on the other. The store that I went to the first time didn't have black, which is what I use most of, but this store did, so I bought 2 of them, and they actually didn't have any bronze ones, or else I would have picked up 2 more bronze ones. It's so weird. Why don't they have both? I don't understand. Weird. I went to Sally Beauty specifically looking for hair color spray like this, and I wanted to find it in brown because I had to put roots into a blonde wig for a client, and I like the way spray is just easier and faster than doing the eyeshadow method like I showed you guys, except they didn't. Apparently, Sally Beauty is switching over brands of the spray color. So these have been reduced down to $5.60. I think they're closer to like $7 usually. And they didn't have any brown. They were like on an end cap, all stuffed together. They were mainly only crazy colors. But I got a black one and I got a pale blonde one. And I have them now for later, and the black one's definitely going to come in handy when I start to root some darker wigs with synthetics. Definitely going to come in handy. Also got highlighting wands, which these are for when you do like balayage, and I really don't do balayage at all. I do like to use them when I'm doing hair color with a bottle, because I like to use them to clean out the nozzle and around the rim of the bottle just to make sure all the hair color is out of it. I wanted it to look like a girl with black hair going blonde. I wanted it to look like a girl with dirty blonde hair with a lot of highlights and a lot of lift. So I've seen this at Sally's every time I go to Sally's, and it's always like, how the heck does that stuff work? Tween Time by Rue. And basically I bought the medium brown and the light brown. Basically what this is this is a temporary hair color touch-up stick. So it looks like this. It kind of looks like a chalk. And basically what you do is you moisten this and you use it to cover your grays or to cover your regrowth in between hair colors so you don't look like a crazy hot mess. So I was thinking, hey, well, it washes out because it's by Rue. They're the same people that make Fanciful Rinse. It's washable, it washes out, it's not permanent on human hair, which means it's definitely not permanent or anything on synthetic hair. So I figured that this could actually maybe work for a synthetic wig for rooting purposes. You guys a tutorial and all of that. But my issue with eyeshadow is that it kind of almost always turns red and warm because it's going on top of white. And if you use black, then it looks black or gray. But if you're using browns, it always turns up to be like a warm red kind of color. And with Sharpie, it's the same thing. Sharpie always pulls super red on blondes when I've tried it. I need to get like some beige colors or something to root wigs with, like a Prismacolor. But I tried this and I really liked it. And then what I also bought was the Face Secret. I've opened them, obviously, because I used them. The Face Secret Mascara wand. I think there were 10 in here. I used like 6 during my project because they kept falling apart and they kept breaking, which is why I didn't use the color mascara wands for that, because I've had several of them before and I know that they're kind of flimsy, and when you bend it too many times, the metal just snaps and the whole little fuzzy head pops off. So I didn't want to waste something that I'm only going to use rarely, so I got these little cheapy guys. It's the end of my haul, and I'm sure you guys are wondering what the roots look like, so I'm going to show you. This is what it ended up looking like. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, that's the light brown color. I really love how it turned out. I didn't root the whole thing. I only rooted around the perimeter and the part area. So if you go in here, it's not rooted. And I didn't do that because it's not it's temporary, it's not permanent. He decides to put it up, he can still put it up and it'll still have roots around the perimeter of the wig. But I didn't feel like going through and rooting the whole thing just because that's a huge waste of time for something that's going to wash out and never get seen. So I just did it around this area and the front. It was I took the mascara wands and I took the stick and I moistened the mascara wands by dunking them in a little dish of water, and then I just kind of painted it on with the mascara wand. But eventually the mascara wand starts to bend and then it breaks and you have to get out another one. So I used about 5 in this project. I would suggest getting a whole bunch of mascara wands to use for it. You could probably actually use regular mascara as well. My only thing with that is that I think regular mascara would get too chunky, and once you start to brush it, I think it would start to flake really bad and turn kind of a gray, kind of pale color. This stuff is meant to be used on your hair, and as you can see, I'm not getting any transfer or anything on my fingers. I also sealed it with hairspray. Really in love with how this turned out with the color stick. I do have to tell you guys that it is very time consuming. It is much more time consuming than doing the eyeshadow on the hairspray, the eyeshadow and hairspray method, because you can take bigger sections with that and have it be fine. With this technique, to get the best result on the sides, you have to go weft by weft, and you have to take small, like 1/4 inch sections in the top, and you have to be really thorough with that mascara wand. I'm not a huge fan of doing tutorials on stuff that I haven't personally tried once before. So now that I've tried it and I figured it out and I found out what works best for me, I'm definitely going to do a tutorial of this in the future for you guys. I've actually already gotten several requests for this wig in particular, from my Instagram account and from my Facebook. So if I have to create another one in the near future, I'll record it for you guys as a tutorial so you guys can see exactly how I went about doing this. And I know you guys are going to ask, this is a Priya from bobbypins.com that I custom cut layers. I razor cut the crap out of this girl. Razor cut layers into her, and I hot roller set her and steamed her. I'm not going to do a tutorial on the style. I'll do a tutorial on how I did the roots, but I'm not going to do a tutorial on how I did the style, like teaching you guys technique, but whole total procedures. Not a big fan of that for free. If you want to take a class with me, please email and I will get back to you and we could set up a class and stuff like that. But I think she turned out really pretty, and I really like the way the roots turned out. And this stick, like, I think that this stick would last a long time. Coffee, I almost said coffee. It's decaf tea time. Decaf tea time. So thank you guys again for watching and tuning in. I love you all. Thank you guys so much for everything and all of your support and ideas and everything. Keep them coming. If you'd like to commission me for a wig or a piece or anything, please email me at info@bobbypins.com. Also check out bobbypins.com. I have a very large selection of really beautiful wigs and styling accessories. I have canvas heads, styrofoam heads. I have a little bit of wefting left, not many. I also now have wig caps and wig making caps. It was really cool, like basically the inside of a wig but bald wig caps with the ribbons in the back for you to sew wefting to. I'm so excited to share those with you guys. I love them. They're so easy to create pieces with, and they're adjustable because it's literally a wig without hair on it. They're amazing. Please check them out. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and check out all my fun social media stuff down in the box, and I'll see you guys on Friday for another fun Friday video. Thanks.